Thank you, Natalie. Good evening, everybody, from the Qatari desert. The FIFA World Cup is well underway, and for Senegal and the Netherlands, the potential pathway to becoming world champions starts right here. The AFCON winners have plenty of familiar faces in their squad, but their superstar, Sadio Mane, is not here. The Dutch have Louis van Gaal back in the dugout for one last dance, and having failed to qualify for Russia 2018, the nearly men are ready to lift the famous trophy for the very first time. Well, the first thing that we are witnessing here, high up in the west stand of this spectacular circular stadium, which is not full but certainly full of atmosphere, is a change of ends ahead of kick-off. The Netherlands all in their bright orange, and Senegal bedecked in all white with a trim of green and yellow and red. And the Senegalese supporters waving those coloured flags all around the stadium. As we look around, they're dotted around this Al Thumama arena south of the city of Doha, and we are just about ready to get underway. The floodlights on, dark skies up ahead, and it will be the Netherlands to kick us off, playing from left to right in the first half, towards the end that houses what appears to be the bulk of travelling supporters for the Dutch, and Senegal playing from right to left. All the drama, all the excitement, all the goals of the 2022 World Cup live right here on the TalkSport network, and this evening at the Al Thumama Stadium on TalkSport 2. We wait for the whistle of the referee. Still spectators taking their seats all around the stadium, which holds 40,000 or so, and the man standing over the ball is Vincent Janssen, formerly of Tottenham, now for the Netherlands. The game has kicked off, and the Dutch in possession. They have the goalkeeper Noppert making his senior international debut tonight, would you believe it, only the second Dutch player to do that at a World Cup. De Ligt, Van Dijk and Ake the centre-halves, Dumfries and Blind the wing-backs, Berghuis and De Jong in front of them, and Gakpo playing just behind the front two of Steven Bergwijn and Vincent Janssen, the two former Tottenham players. And for Senegal, Mendy is the goalkeeper, Sabali, Cisse, Koulibaly and Diallo are the defenders. Gay, Mendy and Kouyaté in midfield. Sarr, Diatta and Jar up front, and an early opportunity for Sarr to race down the near side of the left, finding Jar in the penalty area, and his left-footed strike, hit it instinctively, is deflected high over the top, and Senegal, who've got plenty of height in their side, win a corner very early on, Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, that was great play down the left-hand side from Sarr, and it was a really good interception from Frankie de Jong in the end, you know, gets a little touch on it, but really good signs from Senegal early on, putting the pressure on, and they've got a corner.
Well, we do have to say that the stadium is not full. It is probably 2/3 or so of the way there, spectators arriving all the time. The Dutch have brought everybody back, and the Senegalese have sent all four of their defenders forward, the three to look out for in particular from this sort of range: Koulibaly, Cisse and Diallo. Cheikhou Kouyaté is lurking in and around the penalty spot as well. It's 0-0, live on TalkSport 2, whipped in the corner by Diatta, headed away easily at the near post by Cody Gakpo. It's come back to Sabali, midway inside the Dutch half, ball out to the far side, the right-hand channel, and Senegal will just recycle possession. Back it goes to Papi Mendy, just inside the Dutch half. Crossfield ball from right to left to find Crépin Diatta, and Diatta plays the ball square just to his left, and Idrissa Gueye of Everton will go back to the halfway line.
Yeah, good signs of possession here down this left-hand side as well. They've started the game certainly on the front foot. Netherlands look a bit shaky there.
And Diatta blocked off by Denzel Dumfries, who's playing in the right wing-back role for the Netherlands tonight, and then that ball downfield by Mendy is going to be easily gathered by the Dutch goalkeeper Andries Noppert. What an extraordinary opportunity for him tonight, Leanne. There was a lot of controversy as far as the Netherlands were concerned in terms of which goalkeepers Louis van Gaal would pick, but your international debut at a World Cup, that's not bad.
No, and that shows you the confidence that Louis van Gaal has in him, you know, to start this type of game under this magnitude. And we saw there, you know, he got the ball pretty confidently, got it out to Frankie de Jong nice and early, and I think Frankie de Jong tonight will look to pull the strings. He's come quite deep, but he picks up the ball, you know, looking to get it to Gakpo, and he finds pockets. And what I like about Frankie de Jong, he's always on the move, always looking over his shoulder, always wanting the ball orchestrated from those positions.
Well, it has cooled off a little in the desert, I'm certainly pleased to say.
Oh, I love the heat, Joe.
I know you do.
All day long. Never going to complain about that.
Well, it's a privilege to be here as Virgil van Dijk collects possession. His first major tournament appearance tonight. High raking ball up towards Bergwijn, steered away by Koulibaly. The loose ball is picked up by Abdou Diallo of RB Leipzig in the Senegalese left-back position. Van Dijk there with a good interception on the halfway line, and the Dutch have it back. The score 0-0 in the very early stages on TalkSport 2. Remember, Wales get their World Cup campaign underway against the United States at 7 o'clock UK time. You can hear that game from Group B live on TalkSport, and of course earlier we brought you England's superb start, a thumping win over Iran. Now then, Van Dijk out to the near side, and Matthias de Ligt. De Ligt with the ball forward towards Janssen in the penalty area. Gakpo from the angle, plays it square, cleared away on the stretch somehow, comes back towards Janssen. His effort is blocked. It was super football from the Dutch, certainly crafted in the attacking traditions of great Netherlands sides in the past, and somehow stretching to poke it away from Daley Blind, who was arriving at the far post, was Cheikhou Kouyaté, who's since gone down. The Senegalese will get a free kick, but the Netherlands could easily have been ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Cody Gakpo didn't strike it there, but I actually thought it was a really good pullback. It was almost watching a game of, like, FIFA, like, it was almost waiting for the net to ripple. He puts it across the box, usually it goes in there, good defending in the end. Bergwijn was in there, but I expected Cody Gakpo to just hit the ball into the top corner, really, from that position, but really unselfish from him.
That had those Dutch fans behind the goal to our right on their feet, but Senegal managed to scramble it away. De Jong is caught. Idrissa Gueye in possession. He plays it square to the left in Berghuis. Berghuis with a low ball up towards the edge of the D, smuggled away by Cissé this time, and now Kouyaté nudges the ball high over the halfway line, and Boulaye Dia will bring it down just inside the Netherlands half. It's Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0, and the Dutch with Louis van Gaal back in the hot seat for the third and final time, 71 years of age, the man who led the Netherlands to the World Cup semi-finals in 2014. They failed to qualify for 2018, and certainly we spoke about the instantly recognisable fans, Leanne, and the style of football as well. It's great to have them back at a World Cup.
Absolutely, and I think this is the thing about qualification. You know, you look at the likes of Italy that are not here because Portugal beat them, and it's almost like a bit disappointing.
And Kouyaté on the burst from the midfield. He's got the wrong side of Ake, corner the 18-yard box, far side the Senegal right. The ball is collected by the fullback Salabi, who knocks it out to that right-hand channel. A cross drifted in high, deep towards Diatta at the far post. Diatta, though, won't be able to control it. He will keep it in play on the near side touchline, plays it back to Abdou Diallo, and Diallo with a ball to the halfway line, where Papi Mendy of Leicester City is waiting to regain possession. Here they come again with the twisting, turning, quick feet of Ismaïla Sarr. He's brought down midway inside the Dutch half, and Senegal have themselves a free kick.
I think Delay's lucky he isn't going to pick up a booking here. I mean, I'm glad the refs, I felt like last night, Qatar versus Ecuador, the referee was booking players far too easily early on in the game. Maybe they wanted to set the tempo, but I'm glad that Delay didn't pick up a booking there. But I think, you know, the fact that the Netherlands are here, it doesn't seem right when the team like the Netherlands are not in a major tournament, and I think they've created so many memories over the years. One goal that springs to mind is Robin van Persie, you know, that header and those types of goals and players like that, and, you know, seeing the Netherlands there behind the goal in their orange jerseys is certainly something to be seen.
Well, they have sent Kouyaté and Cissé forward for this free kick. The ball drifted in high and too much on it from Diallo. It'll reach the far side touchline, kept in by Kouyaté, who taps it back to Salabi. Salabi with the ball in field, and now an opportunity for Kouyaté to cross again from the right hand side. It's a deep ball towards the far post, and stretching to try and connect it with it was Cissé. He swung a boot at it, but couldn't make contact. It's still with Crépin Diatta. His deep cross, right-footed, in swinging, high to the far post. It's going to drift out of play, and it's a throw to the Dutch, deep inside their own half, in the left-back position. We've had 7.5 minutes on TalkSport 2, live from the World Cup in Qatar, and it is still goalless.
That was a good ball from Diatta. I felt like, you know, Sarr looked like he tried to reach for it. It was just a bit ahead of him, and, you know, it was unfortunate that it didn't fall to him.
Well, the Senegalese, even without Sadio Mane, are forced to be reckoned with. The AFCON champions of late, major achievement for them. Aliou Cissé is the coach. You might remember him from a long way back with Birmingham and Portsmouth in the Premier League. He's got a baseball cap on, long dark hair, and a a grey tracksuit, as he paces up and down in his technical area. We're high up in the main stand, the steep drop to the touchline below. Leanne, Natalie and I were here a long way before kick-off, and so much excitement in the build-up, Leanne, we couldn't wait to get started.
Absolutely not, and this is my first game at the stadium live, and you can't beat it, Joe. Being here, watching the warm-up, seeing the players walk out, taking it all in. When the Netherlands came out, some of the Senegal fans were booing, and it was so loud, and this is the type of stuff that it makes it so special to be here at an occasion like this.
Ake on the cover with a back pass to the goalkeeper Noppert, all in green. Noppert hesitates to clear a little, pushes it forward towards Berghuis, and Berghuis scoops the ball to the left rather awkwardly, and the Netherlands have given it away. Kouyaté, middle of midfield, forward pass towards Sarr, who shoots at the edge of the D, and it's high and over the top and behind for a goal kick.
I felt like that came from Noppert. In that situation, it almost was, he was very nonchalant the way he was orchestrating from the back, and I feel like it came from that, and then it ended up falling to Nathan Ake, and then they were under pressure. But I think there's been a decent tempo to the game. We're only 10 minutes in, but I feel like both teams have tried to create opportunities.
The ball hit high downfield by Blind towards Janssen for the Dutch, but it's an easy take for Edouard Mendy, all in royal blue, of course the colours of his club side Chelsea. There is some doubt over his position at Chelsea, but Aliou Cissé, the Senegal boss, reiterated in the build-up he believes that Mendy is still one of the very best in the world in his position. As Berghuis hooks the ball downfield for the Netherlands, it's poked away from danger by Koulibaly, but quickly taken up by Berghuis, all in that bright orange strip, and a ball out to the near side, and Dumfries. It's still 0-0. Dumfries with a deep cross that should be easy for Mendy, and he takes it high inside his 6-yard box.
Yeah, good positioning from Dumfries, but I think in that situation Mendy's always going to come and collect it. One thing I think I like about the Netherlands so far is that they can go short, but we've seen Virgil van Dijk try and do the diagonal ball. We saw Daley Blind there try and do the diagonal ball, and maybe they're going to look to get Bergwijn or in the channels, and it looks like they've got a different route to go as well. They're not just playing intricate passes into Frankie de Jong, they're not afraid to go long with a purposeful ball.
Well, the player's been stopped because Pape Abou Cissé, the Senegal centre-half, had gone down on the edge of his own 6-yard box. He's back up to his feet pretty quickly, and the referee Wilton Sampaio from Brazil has come across just to check that he's okay, and there's no need for the physio as far as we can tell. The Senegalese centre-half staff are consulting with the referee, but everything's okay, as Cissé wipes his brow with his white shirt, and Mendy will have the ball back for Senegal. Relatively light on chances so far, although there was that one very promising break for the Dutch, and it remains 0-0. Still plenty of spectators arriving late, though the stadium isn't going to be full tonight. You can see that quite clearly it's not sold out, and that was a theme that we saw yesterday midway through the opening game, where plenty of Qatar fans headed home early amidst their defeat by Ecuador. And now the ball is picked up by Idrissa Gueye, 10 yards into the Dutch half. Forward pass towards Diatta, blocked off impressively so by Blind, who hooks the ball high and cross field. It's controlled by Janssen. Koulibaly quickly across, the Senegal captain, and the ball pumped high downfield, away from danger by Cissé, out of play. As Sarr might have been caught there, Ismaila Sarr, just holding his ankle inside the Dutch half, but again he seems to be moving without too much issue, Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, it was quite a strange one because Sarr and Dumfries almost went for the same ball. Dumfries was down, and I think he had a look, saw that Janssen was on the break, and then ended up getting up. But what I like about the Dutch front three as well, they're really interchangeable. You've got Gakpo in behind Bergwijn, and I feel like they can move. They've got a lot of mobility in there. They can switch, as we can see now, and I think that's something that's going to cause a lot of problems, because we've seen early on they're quite unselfish in those positions. We saw Gakpo go through to goal, try to square it across to Bergwijn, so we're going to look for that tonight, a lot of the interchangeability.
Pape Mendy thumps the ball downfield. Van Dijk has to watch the bounce. He cushions the header away, not too far away from danger though. Boulaye Dia is the man who's reached it for Senegal, and he finds Diatta with a good reverse pass. Diatta right-handed to the penalty area, back to Sabali, forward to Diatta, again in a crossing position, jinks beyond one defender, but not away from the very skillful, fleet-footed Frankie de Jong, who just glides whenever he's in possession, and de Jong manages to win the Dutch a throw in their left-back position on the far side. He's a silky player, isn't he, Leanne?
Yeah, he is, and I'm a big fan of his, Joe. I mean, He's such a fantastic player. When he's on the ball, he's so comfortable.
They won it back though with Gay, who nudges it square to Jar inside the penalty area, pulls it back to the edge of the D, and this time it's Mendy's shot, which is well blocked. The Netherlands a little careless in possession as they try to play the ball through the defensive third, but the flag was up in the build-up anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. And Louis van Gaal's side do get themselves a free kick, and it is still 0-0. Yeah, Jan Sanderson, former England striker, alongside me. The former England striker who never stops working. Is it no day off until the knockout stages?
Something like that, but to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm operating off of hardly any sleep, but yeah, I mean, I've had a great time. I've only been here 3 days and I've done a lot, but to be at the games live, you just can't beat it, so I was really excited to come tonight.
Sabali charging up the middle of the right back for Senegal, plays it to his left and his side, and Sarr, corner of the penalty area. Sabali makes the overlapping run, cuts the ball back, headed away by De Jong, but the assistant again on that far side towards the corner flag is waving his checkered flag. The ball had already gone out of play before Sabali pulled it back, and it's a goal kick to the Netherlands.
I'm surprised that Sabali didn't get onto that a lot earlier, because it looked like the ball was going to sit for him to be able to keep it in play, but it didn't. But I think Senegal, they look fearless, and that's exactly what they need to do against a team of this calibre of the Netherlands. Individually, they're very, very good. We saw a couple of times there, I think Virgil van Dijk and Nathan Ake, they look like they're a little bit too far apart. There was one header a couple of minutes ago where Virgil van Dijk looked like he was heading into Ake, but then Senegal ended up coming at them, and I feel like there's a lot of unforced errors.
Well, Senegal do tend to start World Cups well. They won their opening match in 2018, and of course that famous victory over France by a goal to nil in the World Cup in 2002 in Japan and South Korea. And this is a tremendous stage in the Qatari desert, a spectacular brand new stadium. Here is Daley Blind for the Netherlands, far side of the field, level with the edge of the penalty area, square pass towards Janssen, well tracked all the way by the ever tenacious Mendy. And it's gone out of play in the end for a throw to Senegal in their right back position. Don't see a lot of Papi Mendy in a Leicester shirt, but he is an integral cog in the wheel for Senegal.
Yeah, it must be difficult for some players, you know, playing minimal minutes for their club teams, but then you come into a World Cup, a lot of them are in tip-top form, you know, in condition. They condition themselves now. Gone are the days where you can go into pre-season out of shape. You have to be ready to go, and it's a World Cup, and I feel like, you know, you can really make a name for yourself in these tournaments.
Here is Gakpo, the number 8 for the Netherlands, driving forward towards the corner of the penalty area. Dumfries is on the overlap, pulls it back across, cleared away, swept away by Mendy there again. He had Janssen to aim it in the middle. There was a late run from Steven Bergwijn as well, the two former Tottenham players alongside each other up front tonight, but it was swept clear, and the Dutch go back towards the midway point of the Senegal half, and now De Jong pokes it back to Virgil van Dijk on the halfway line.
Yeah, it seems like the Netherlands are getting a lot of joy down this right-hand side with Dumfries, you know, Gakpo, Bergwijn is going out to the left-hand side as well, but they're not really going down that side, maybe because Blind doesn't have the type of pace that Gakpo and Dumfries has, but they're so unselfish when they're getting in front of goal. They're looking for the pullbacks.
Bergwijn, 35 yards out, plays it back to De Jong. Now Blind is on the overlap, left on edge of the penalty area, deep cross. Dumfries will let it run over his head. It'll be picked up by Gakpo with the white boots on, right by the corner flag on the near side, still 0-0. Deep cross towards Daley Blind, and it's headed wide, right in front of those Netherlands supporters, couple of thousand behind that goal. They were ready to leap out of their seats in celebration, but it's gone behind, and it's still Senegal 0, Netherlands 0. You're listening to TalkSport 2.
Yeah, that was a really good ball from Cody Gakpo. I feel like it almost come off of Daley Blind's shoulder. It almost looked like he closed his eyes as well. It was a decent opportunity, but I think he was under pressure for the two Senegal defenders as well.
A former Manchester United man. You can hear the sound, the rhythmic beat of a drum down below as a spectacular scene taking place, because Senegal supporters are waving those green and yellow and white flags, and they're bouncing up and down in a remarkable dance routine. Don't know how much of the game they're seeing, but certainly it's incredibly well choreographed. I certainly do not have that sort of rhythm, Leanne, that is for sure.
Yeah, they look great. They look like they've got masks on, hats on, they're having a good time down there, and this is what the World Cup's all about, bringing everybody together, different nationalities to support their countries.
And we have seen that at this World Cup, as Sabali looks to race infield from the right-hand touchline. The far side for Senegal. He's got options, square into his right, Play back towards Mendy. Mendy out to the far side touchline, and Diatta. And Gay has made a run towards the dead ball line. He can cut it back across, and going in there with a challenge was Ake, the Manchester City defender. And out to play it goes for Senegal's second corner on the far side. And their supporters, who were wedged into that corner, a big group of them, up on their feet to cheer and applaud.
Yeah, that was really good play from Gay down that right-hand side. I almost thought the ball was going to run out of play, but really nice, intricate passes. And I feel like, genuinely, this game's quite wide open. You know, there's not been any real clear-cut opportunities apart from the one down the right-hand side for the Netherlands where Cody Gakpo pulled back.
Again, it's Gay with the delivery, right-footed out swinging. Koulibaly was climbing. The Dutch will get the ball away through Blint, hammers it high upfield on his left foot towards the halfway line, and now Bergwijn trying to race beyond Mendy. There are two players in orange making runs forward. Berghuis is one of them. Berghuis has played it square. There's an opportunity at the far post. Twisting, turning De Jong. Can he get the shot away? No, he can't. Swept off his boot at the last by Kouyaté, but he should have hit it much earlier than he did. De Jong doesn't score many. He could easily have put the Dutch in front.
That was such a fantastic counter from the Netherlands. I was waiting for Frankie de Jong to just strike it. It opened up, he came inside, and he looked like he's just overran it, to be honest, but really good play from the Netherlands.
Janssen shoots on the edge of the D as we welcome listeners from Talk Sport. The second game in Group A, Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0, the latest score. Both sides have had half chances, but the Dutch have just had a fleet-footed break forward. Berghuis played it square into the path of Frenkie de Jong of Barcelona, had two opportunities to shoot, elected not to do so, and Sekou Kouyaté was there to whip it off his toes, and that, Leanne Sanderson, former England striker alongside me, is the closest either side have come so far.
Absolutely, and I feel like when he came inside, I was waiting for him to get that quick shot off, but he just almost took too long, which allowed Senegal to get back into position and block the shot. So really good play, really good break. You know, they were so good on the counter, and I felt like Bergwijn started that, you know, held the ball up really well. Senegal couldn't handle the break through the middle from all the players when they all went there, Gakpo, Bergwijn, but I think Frenkie de Jong would be looking to put that in the back of the net, and he was almost too calm, too composed, and should have put it in the back of the net.
We are at the Al Thumama Stadium, south of the centre of Doha. The atmosphere is tremendous on a relatively mild night for what we've experienced at the World Cup so far here in the Qatari desert. Remember, the best way to be across all of the games, and we're going to bring you every single match at the World Cup on the TalkSport network, is to download the app, and you can swipe left and right at your leisure. That'll be particularly useful when we get into situations where there are multiple games a day and towards the end of the group stages. It's Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0. And here's a chance for Diatta on the far side, the right for Senegal. Held up by Blint, so rolls the ball back to the halfway line where Cissé, the giant centre-half, is waiting. Square pass to Diallo. Diallo's ball inside left channel, high towards the head of Gay. Headed away though well by Van Dijk. The ball collected by Berghuis, who's a very impressive creative midfield player and scores plenty of goals in the Eredivisie for Ajax. And now De Jong breaking forward at great pace. He's run 30 yards, tried to slip it to his left, and Bergwijn swept away by Sabali. The Dutch are still on the attack. It's still 0-0. De Ligt up to the corner of the penalty area, surely tripped by Sarr. The referee was in a great position to see that, and it's a free kick in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, and I mean, that all came from, I know I sound like I absolutely love Frenkie de Jong, which I do, but the balance to be able to create that opportunity ran through. I think he actually made the wrong decision in the end. I thought he should have tried to thread the ball through to Bergwijn, but the balance for him to stay on his feet when he was almost getting kicked. Now they've got the free kick down here. It's a really good position. Really good position. It could be the in-swinger from Berghuis or Cody Gakpo with the out-swinger, so we'll have to wait and see. But this could cause a lot of problems given the right delivery.
When he was heavily linked with Manchester United in the summer, it was Frenkie de Jong. But as you say, Leanne, corner of the penalty area near side, it's Gakpo and Berghuis who are the two over the ball. We are approaching the midway points of the first half, live at the World Cup on TalkSport 2. Senegal have brought everybody back. The Dutch have sent plenty forward, almost everybody in that Senegal 18-yard box. Plenty of orange shirts beneath the floodlights here. Haven't had a clear-cut opportunity in terms of the goalkeeper making a save just yet. It'll be Berghaus to whip it in high into the six-yard box. Well dealt with by Koulibaly on the stretch, the ball-headed central defender. And now it's knocked downfield by Mendy, up towards halfway. De Jong is there to regain possession easily.
Yeah, that was good defending from Koulibaly. I feel like Senegal defend really, really well. They look really organised. So I thought that was a really good ball into the box. Nice pace. And I think it almost looked like it was going to fall to Virgil van Dijk or Frank de Jong in and around the area. But Senegal defended that really well.
And De Ligt is just trotting back, the man to the right of the three centre-halves. He's in possession now just inside the Senegal half. He's got a ball forward towards Gakpo, who is in acres of space. Gakpo's pass infield, easily intercepted by the giant Kouyaté. And now it's with Diallo, who just stomps the ball off the shins of Denzel Dumfries. In fact, the last touch was off the Senegalese player. And the Dutch have a throw midway inside opposition territory.
Diallo down this left-hand side, I mean, they're coming at him, whether it's Cody Gakpo, Dumfries, you know, they're really coming down this right-hand side. The Netherlands have barely used their left-hand side, and I feel like that's because of the pace maybe the Daley Blind doesn't have, but maybe if he can look to get on the overlapping Bergwijn, they could get some joy down that left-hand side as well. But Senegal have dealt with the problems very well so far.
And Berghaus raiding down the near side touchline the right. He runs into Diallo, who stood firm, stood tall, didn't dive in, and was easily able to win it back, but has carried the ball out of play, and it's a Dutch throw. De Jong will leave it, I think, for Dumfries. No, in fact, De Jong takes the throw back to De Ligt, and De Ligt's on
that
the
was a foul throw.
I know.
That was one of the worst throws I've ever seen, and he's allowed to get away with it. But it is Frankie de Jong, so I'll allow it.
Well, the Dutch supporters certainly travel in style. There was a huge bus that arrived earlier as that high pass from Bergwijn up towards Gakpo is easily collected by Edouard Mendy. Instantly recognisable. Lots of banners behind that goal to the right as well, Leanne. And even though it's not full, as we've said, in terms of spectators, you certainly get a sense of the atmosphere here at the Al Thumama Stadium.
Absolutely, and what I've noticed about a lot of the stadiums, it seems like people are constantly walking around. And I feel like if those people probably sat in their seats, it would look full, because as we can see now, everyone's just constantly walking around the stadium. But it is a fantastic stadium, it really is, and hopefully, you know, more and more people can pile in here, because there is still a good crowd, but I still think it could be better.
Here is Sabali on the far side, the right for Senegal. Papi Mendy just having taken a free kick, and Koulibaly with a high pass on the diagonal from right to left, collected brilliantly by Ismail Assar, plug it out of the air, corner the penalty area, onto his right foot, and the curler is blocked by Van Dijk, who headed it over the top and behind for a corner. Super skill from Ismail Assar, jinking onto his right side, and the driven effort was heading for the top corner, but for Van Dijk's intervention.
Absolutely brilliant, and most people will actually focus on the shot, but I want to focus on the touch from Sarr because it was brilliant.
Corner's taken short to Jar, back out to the taker Gay, sweeping high delivery, much too much on it, headed away by Blint at the far post. You've got people milling about in front of us in the media area as well, Leanne.
Yeah.
They just sit down and watch the game, surely. As the ball is cleared downfield by the Dutch, it's Blint in possession, scoops it forward towards Bergwijn, tried to flick it over the head of Sabali. There was no way that was going to work in such a congested area, and Senegal, all in white with that trim of green and white and red and yellow on their kit, have possession back. Immediately though, De Jong steps in to regain the ball for the Netherlands. A crossfield pass high towards Dumfries, standing right in front of the near side touchline. Remember, the United States against Wales to come on Talk Sport at 7 o'clock in Group B. That after England thumped Iran earlier, live over on Talk Sport. Every game at the World Cup live on the network. Striding forward is De Jong into a central position. He's got Dumfries on the right hand channel. Dumfries tries a cross, it deflects behind off Diallo, and the Dutch have their first corner, 26 minutes in, and it's still 0-0.
And again, it came from Frankie de Jong. I mean, for people that are listening are probably thinking all I'm ever doing is mentioning his name, but the more I'm here, the more I'm actually gutted he didn't come to Manchester United, because when you watch him live, you have he actually won the ball on the halfway line to start the play and ended up with the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box to play it out to Dumfries. Unbelievable. Absolutely brilliant.
Something tells me Leanne is a Frankie de Jong fan. Understandably. Cody Gakpo will take it, right-footed, out-swinging. Van Dijk climbs and heads wide. What a moment that would have been for the Dutch captain on his first ever major tournament appearance. He was about 12 yards out, in and around the penalty spot, but he never got any direction on the header, and it's a goal kick to Senegal.
Yeah, that was a good ball in from Gakpo. I mean, I think he's saying to the ref he was being held, but I think that was a pretty poor effort from Virgil van Dijk. I'd expect him to do a little bit better there. He got up nice and high, and he just went off of the right-hand side, just completely wide. It was completely off.
Goal kick is taken short by Mendy, straight to the feet of Koulibaly. Forward to Papi Mendy. Mendy out to the right-back position, and Sabali. And now cleared high, up downfield by Koulibaly towards the halfway line. Just keeping our eye on the lower tier on the far side of the field. There are a cluster of yellow-jacketed stewards who are sort of racing down the steps towards a section of supporters. We'll keep our eyes peeled as the Senegal team come forward on the pitch. It's still 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Sabali 5 yards or so from the corner of the 18-yard box, and now it's collected by Gay. Out to the right and Diatta. Gay has made an overlapping run towards the dead ball line. Back to Diatta again. Infield to Kouyaté. Kouyaté with a pass that's intercepted by Ake. Only half cleared. Senegal have it back midway inside the Dutch half. There are a relatively high number, maybe 20-30 spectators in that lower tier towards the right of the halfway line as we look at it, who are certainly not watching the game at the moment. And as I say, plenty of stewards in that area. We're not sure what the problem is. Oh, it's given away by De Jong, is it? Half intercepted by Van Dijk. Come back to Sabali, edge of the penalty area, sets up Gay with the shot, blocked, second attempt, can't get the shot away. He's got Diatta on the underlap, plays it back towards Kouyaté, very congested all of a sudden. Now Mendy collects possession, 25 yards from goal. Nervy moment that for the Netherlands. The ball out on the far side with Diatta, cutting in field onto his left foot and firing wide of goal, and the Dutch get away with it. 0-0.
Yeah, what I'm seeing, Joe, is that it almost looked like the Netherlands are so nonchalant at the back, whether it be Nathan Ake, whether it be Virgil van Dijk. And I feel like Senegal, if they can be a little bit more interchangeable up front, I think Sarr's been really, really good. And they've had some joy down the right-hand side as well. But I feel like they need to be a little bit more dynamic when they're attacking. And I feel like Kouyaté's picking up the ball, and he tried to shoot from about 25 yards out, where if he can try and play those little intricate passes, maybe they'll get a bit of joy. But I feel like the Netherlands, they're not getting out quick enough. And I feel like it's allowing Senegal to come straight back at them.
Well, this is always going to be a really intriguing game, particularly after Ecuador really asserted their authority on the group against Qatar live last night over on TalkSport. And this was the game, I think, Leanne, that was always going to provide the most intrigue coming into the tournament in this group.
Absolutely, and these teams would have been watching the game yesterday, eagerly anticipating the next day, wanting to get out on the pitch, and now they're out there now. And I'm sure most people expect the Netherlands to win this game pretty comfortably, but I said it before the game, I never felt like it was always going to be really, really comfortable. I feel like Senegal can cause a bit of an upset here as well.
I know Sadio Mane, but they're not the AFCON champions for no reason. He was integral, of course, as Blind plays the ball forward for the Dutch to the edge of the box, and Bergwijn back to goal. De Jong a sweeping pass, crossfield to the right-hand side, and it evades Dumfries, and it goes out of play for a throw to Senegal in their left-back position. And Diallo is standing over it. Well, lots more live football to come across the World Cup. Tomorrow we have 4 matches for you. Argentina against Saudi Arabia at 10 o'clock from Group C. Denmark against Tunisia at 1 on TalkSport on Group D. That's followed by Mexico against Poland, and then France get their campaign underway against Australia. And the Dutch have won a free kick on the corner of the 18-yard box after a foul on Vincent Janssen. It's still 0-0, and actually, Leanne, neither goalkeeper has seriously been tested.
No, and I'm not quite sure if I think that's a free kick. I think Cisse was just going for the ball. I think Janssen sold it really well, but again, it's almost a replica of the free kick we saw about 10 minutes ago, from this position, and I thought it was a really good ball into the box. So Senegal need to kind of, defend exactly how they did. We could see Gakpo whipping this one in, because the last one, we saw Berghuis whip this one in.
Well, the angle is too tight, surely, to go for goal. There is a 2-man Senegal wall. The Dutch fans behind the goal are on their feet. You're with TalkSport 2, and it is still 0-0. Plenty forward in bright orange, and will it be the right boot of Gakpo or the left boot to swing this in from Steven Berghuis? Blind and Ake are there, Van Dijk and De Ligt, and Dumfries is lurking. Janssen is in a long line of players midway inside the penalty area as well, and again Senegal have brought everybody back to defend it. It's been rather tight and tense, this encounter, up to this point. It'll be left to Gakpo, right-footed, high to the far post. Here comes Edouard Mendy. Didn't get there, the goalkeeper, but Kouyaté was there to head it away. Sabali volleys it forward towards Diatta, just shy of the halfway line. Lovely control and back heel, back to Kouyaté. They don't want to overplay here, though, Senegal. Mendy goes back to Koulibaly, and Koulibaly back to Edouard Mendy, defended it really well.
Yeah, I thought that was a poor ball from Cody Gakpo, though. I thought it had too much height on it. I feel like it just needs to be whipped in and around the penalty spot, similar to the one before. So it was quite a lot of height on it, which didn't allow Nathan Ake to really have much joy in getting the header back across.
Van Dijk has just knocked the ball into touch, throw to Senegal in the left wing position. It's been so intriguing, this World Cup so far. Ecuador's victory last night, England's thumping victory over Iran, live on TalkSport to get Gareth Southgate's campaign off to the perfect start. And here it's still finely poised, goalless in the opening half. Senegal against the Netherlands. The ball is laid back by Sarr towards Sabali from 25 yards. He'll have a crack, and that's gathered by Noppert, but does that really count as a save, Leanne? I'm not sure it really does.
No, I mean, they say if you don't shoot, you don't score, but that was like, more or less a back pass. So, but again, Senegal, they're making the most of their opportunity, shooting from distance. I still think they need to be a little bit more intricate in and around the box, and I think they'll get a little bit of joy by putting the pressure on the Netherlands, because defensively, I think they haven't looked the best, the Netherlands, and I just think they haven't put them under enough pressure. I feel like when Sarr's got the ball down this left-hand side, he's looked threatening. There was that chance where potentially it could have been going in if Virgil van Dijk didn't clear it off of the line. So, yeah, I think Senegal have really had a really good first half.
Well, this is the first of those days of multiple group stage matches that so often make tournament football so exciting. We mentioned our Tuesday games on Wednesday: Morocco against Croatia, Germany against Japan on TalkSport, followed by Spain against Costa Rica, and Belgium against Canada to round the day off. Diallo looking to drive in behind for Senegal, blocked off by his opposite number, Dumfries, and the Dutch win themselves a free kick in their right back position. And then on Thursday the games just keep on coming. Again, we start on TalkSport 2 at 10 a.m. for Switzerland against Cameroon. That's followed by 3 games on TalkSport: Uruguay against South Korea, Portugal against Ghana, and Brazil against Serbia. Every game is live on the network, and don't forget, when the Premier League resumes, we'll have every match on Boxing Day as well on the TalkSport network. The football literally never stops.
No, it doesn't. How great is that?
Well, where would we be without it? As Koulibaly controls down by the corner flag, a sweeping clearance upfield. It's well brought down on the intercept by De Jong, who actually, that missed chance aside, you're absolutely right, Leanne, is running the game at times. Blint's got it far side the left for the Netherlands, gets the return ball from Steven Bergwijn, 3-2 in the middle, high cross, Dumfries far post, Janssen tries to control, he's got his back to goal, tried to find Gakpo with the layoff, now it's come out to Berghuis, edge of the D, crossfield to Blint, first time ball infield to De Jong, 30 yards from goal, whips in the delivery, and Janssen's flicked header, it skimmed off the top of his head, via a deflection off Cisse, and it's gone behind for a corner to the Dutch. It remains 0-0, 10 minutes of the first half to go.
Yeah, really good pressure again, good ball in from Frenkie de Jong. Janssen got on the end of it, but it's gone out for a corner, and it looks like Cody Gakpo's going to look to whip this one in. Again, they've caused a lot of problems, I feel like, from set pieces, the Netherlands, but I think Senegal defended very, very well. I think that's why the game is still 0-0, because I don't think going forward-wise in the midfield they've been that great, Senegal.
Gakpo's delivery towards the near post, and Dumfries headed away, this time by Koulibaly. It's come back to the near side, and Gakpo with a teasing cross, a header from Kouyaté this time through a crowd of players, and now it's drifted out of play, and it will be a throw to the Dutch, midway inside the Senegal half. Both sides have really played this game in patches, I think, Leanne, it's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, there's not really been any clear-cut opportunities, but I feel like, defensively, Senegal defending very well. I think the Netherlands have attacked really well, but I feel like some of their decision-making in the final third, if they can just make that better in the second half, then it looks like the Netherlands will potentially score at some point. But I feel like they're making strange decisions when they're getting into certain parts of the 18-yard box, and it's not quite working out for them. But once it starts to click, I imagine the Netherlands will, could go on to win this game 1 or 2-0.
Well, they are undefeated in Louis van Gaal's third spell in charge up to this point. Not seen any of Louis van Gaal in terms of standing in the technical area just yet. He's sat back in the dugout. Of course, he has had all sorts of health problems, but great to see him at the tournament. Referee is looking towards Nathan Ake, and there's a talking to for the Dutch defender, very stern-like talking to from the referee from Brazil. And I thought the way he was sort of marching over to him, it might be a yellow card, but in the end it's just a free kick to Senegal, 10 yards into the Dutch half of the field.
Absolutely nothing in that. I'm not quite sure why the referee was being like that. I mean, I think it's good that he's not booking players like last night, but I just feel like there was absolutely nothing in there. It was barely a foul.
Sabali's got possession, hugging the far side touchline for Senegal. Suddenly the pace of the game has dropped a little. Crossfield ball by Diatta, high towards the left-hand channel, and Diallo is sandwiched in between two orange shirts, and the Dutch get it away. It's still 0-0 as the ball is rolled back to Edouard Mendy. And neither goalkeepers had a meaningful save to make. I think that is without question. That one stop from Noppert, but it was straight at him. And the lack of cutting edge, or the lack of clinical finishing, I think, will be what has frustrated Van Gaal so much so far in particular.
Absolutely, and this is where it goes back to, certain players like Memphis that offers that in those areas, can get assists, can get on the ball. I think the Netherlands can be happy with their performance. I think there's been some bright sparks, but I just think as the game goes on, Senegal will look to be annoying towards the Netherlands, because one opportunity, one ball can create an opportunity for them to score.
The ball was pumped long downfield by Cissé. It's well controlled by Sarr, converged upon by De Ligt, who wrestled him to the ground. Referee plays the advantage because Boulaye Dia has got it back for Senegal, and now Idrissa Gueye, left of centre, deep inside the Dutch half. The Dutch having to defend here. And Sarr at no great pace, at walking pace as he's held up by Dumfries. Back towards Idrissa Gueye again. And now Mendy steering it square to the near side, the left, and Diallo. Diallo has got two in the middle to aim at. Sarr and Jar were calling for it. It's with Diatta. Diatta drives infield, again held up by Dumfries. The Dutch with those three very robust centre-halves in De Ligt, Van Dijk and Ake. And now Diatta plays a 1-2 with Gueye, whose pass is poor, given away to Gakpo. And now the Dutch can break. Played square by Janssen. De Jong has got lots of space to tear into. He's up over the halfway line. He's got options left and right. De Jong skips towards the right and plays it to the near side, and Dumfries. Dumfries three to him with the cross. Low ball to Janssen. And now Berghuis to shoot, and he rifles it over the top. Better from the Dutch, but still no serious effort on goal, and still 0-0.
That was a nice touch from Janssen to set it up for Berghuis as well, and it just lifts over the bar. But it's a great effort, and Mendy looked like he almost was going to get a touch on the ball, but the ball seemed to rise as he got closer to the goal. But I think Senegal, a second ago, they could have put the ball in the box, and they just looked reluctant to deliver balls into the box, which I'm quite surprised at, because that was what enabled the Netherlands to come down and attack, because they had so many players in the box and they just don't want to put the ball in there. Diallo didn't.
Here's an opportunity for Sarr, who's raced away from De Ligt. He's hugging the near side touchline. Now he glides infield. Only a couple to aim at in the middle. Sarr has been held up by Van Dijk. Still gets the cross in. Cleared away by Ake on the volley. Inside the 6-yard box. Otherwise, Jar was waiting to pounce. Collected by Gueye, and then the threaded ball inside left channel by Diallo towards Sarr, and the referee had long blown for the free kick. Diallo thought he was in behind, but Sarr ended up on the turf, right in front of that really loud section of travelling Senegal supporters who were waving their flags furiously. And a free kick to Senegal, level with the edge of the Dutch penalty area, Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, Sarr's been really, really good. I think he's caused a lot of problems. He put that ball into the box with his weaker foot on his left side, and that's what I'm talking about. I want to see Senegal putting more balls into the box, because I think the Dutch defence look certainly a bit shaky when they're under pressure, but I feel like Senegal are just kind of possessing the ball down his left-hand side and not really delivering it. And as we saw there, Nathan Ake had to end up clearing the ball, and it could have almost been a goal. So I feel like Senegal need to really put this into it. This is a dangerous area for a free kick, and they need to put it in an area where, Koulibaly could potentially head it. Against Van Dijk.
There's a queue of targets, isn't there? Cissé and Kouyaté and Koulibaly, as you say, and Diallo's up there as well. Late in the first half, the Senegal fans up on their feet, and it will be Idrissa Gueye to take the corner, the free kick rather, near side the left, and it's just about level with the 18-yard line. It's a terrible delivery, headed away by De Jong. We build them up, Leanne, and we see a free kick like that.
That was so poor, so poor. And it makes me laugh, because he was almost, everyone makes mistakes, I'm not going to be too harsh on him, but he started almost acting like something was caught on the back of his stud. It was just a really poor ball. And those are the opportunities they need to capitalise on this left-hand side. Bend it into the box, put the Netherlands under pressure, but ends up hitting the front man.
England hit Iran for 6 earlier on TalkSport, and in just over 2 hours and 15 minutes, 10 o'clock local time in Qatar, Wales get their campaign underway against the United States of America. TalkSport will provide commentary and will bring you all of the important post-match reaction as well. You'll be able to have your say. Here is goalkeeper Noppert for the Netherlands. Had a very quiet introduction to international football at the World Cup as well. And a long pass by De Ligt up towards Bergwijn, chests it down on halfway. Janssen stretching to meet it, couldn't get there. A little slow on the uptake. Janssen, who was widely criticised for his performances and lack of goals from open play in particular at Tottenham.
I think Janssen's actually been... It depends on what type of centre-forward you want, but he's an unselfish centre-forward. He doesn't look like someone that necessarily is hungry for goals, but he's quite unselfish. He's set the ball up for Cody Gakpo a couple of times now, and he looks like the type of player who's almost like a target man. As we can see now, he's almost dropping in really deep to receive it, to set the ball off, and play it.
A little flick down the near side touchline by Gakpo. Was he caught by Mendy? No, referee says get up, get on with it. It's a Senegal throw. Our producer is a Leicester fan, and he was scouting the team sheets furiously to see if Papi Mendy had made the grade, and so he did. Delight on the face of our producer. And I tell you what, he's scurrying about the pitch very effectively, isn't he, so far, Papi Mendy?
Absolutely, and I think this is exactly what they need. They need to get in the Netherlands' faces. I think Mendy's done a good job of that. Koyate's done a good job of that as well, and kind of try to annoy them and frustrate them. And the longer the game goes on, anything is possible, because I think Senegal look fearless, and I think the Netherlands are the ones that, the Senegal are almost the underdogs in this game, so the Netherlands, people expect them to beat them pretty comfortably.
Long ball by Van Dijk, and Sabali with a cushion header back towards Mendy. Too much on it, and it's gone out of play for a Dutch corner, very carelessly conceded by the fullback Youssouf Sabaly.
Yeah, and that is something so basic. I mean, Virgil van Dijk, I spoke about the diagonal ball early in the half. He just kind of looked to switch it. Daley Blind has barely touched the ball in this half as well, down that left-hand side, because they've been coming down this right-hand side with Dumfries, Janssen, a lot of the players gone down here, but that's really, really poor, because, they've gone out for a corner now, and it was completely unopposed, unforced error.
Gakpo's over the ball, Senegal 0, Netherlands 0. Wall-to-wall coverage on the TalkSport network. Across the next month or so, it all starts again 10 o'clock UK time tomorrow morning with Argentina against Saudi Arabia here on TalkSport 2. Gakpo, take 2 with the delivery, whipped in towards the 6-yard box, headed away by Koulibaly through a crowd again. Lots of aerial ability in both sides. Berghuis to whip it in from the near side of the field, and this time it is Kouyate in the way, and they're on the counter-attacking charge are Senegal. On the burst is Gay. Early balls towards Jar, who made a late run into the 18-yard box. It was a pass on the right-hand side, too much on it, and gathered by Noppert, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, really. The Netherlands have had so much of the ball. They possess the ball. They're putting the ball in the box. But every single time, I don't think it's a matter of a poor play for the Netherlands. I just think it's really good defensive play. And Senegal look really organised, and the ball's almost hitting them. Every time there's a set piece, every time they go forward, they seem to always be in the right place at the right time, Koulibaly.
2 minutes added time. De Jong has played the ball inside left channel, which Janssen will chase. Edouard Mendy is there, and he hammers it high into the east stand on the far side of the field. I can occasionally feel a little breeze. Of course, a feature at this World Cup in the Qatari desert this winter is that all of the stadiums, or almost all of them, are air conditioned. It's a little cooler.
Joe, it's a little bit different to Boreham Wood, isn't it? A little bit different to Absolute, so we're not going to complain. I love going to Boreham Wood. It's a place that I used to call my home when I played for Arsenal, but much better conditions here, the weather-wise.
Leanne and I do a lot of Women's Super League football for the TalkSport network. Boreham Wood is the home of Arsenal, and actually Women's Football Weekly coming up later on TalkSport 2 from 7 o'clock. Before that, once we're done here, you'll hear the EFL show. Now here's Ake on the halfway line, square ball to Van Dijk. He's in the centre circle for the Netherlands. We're in first half stoppage time. We've nearly had all of it, but here's Berghaus right of centre, 25 yards out, and Dumfries to dig out across from the dead ball line, high towards Bergwijn, cleared away through a crowd again by Koulibaly, stretching on the volley, and now Janssen trying to control with his back to goal, his elbows jutting out, no way beyond Idrissa Gueye, who battled hard. Janssen battling even more effectively though to win it back. It's De Jong who's 30 yards out, Bergwijn with his back to goal, holds it up and somehow squeezes it through to Janssen, who tried to knock a pass into the middle in the late run of Gakpo, but now Senegal can break. We've nearly had the 2 minutes of first half stoppage time. Diatta not racing over halfway, he has got Sabaly on the overlap, but I think the referee is very shortly going to blow the half-time whistle. Papi Mendy's got it, midway inside Dutch territory. Out to the right and Sabaly again, all this at walking pace really. Nobody going towards Mendy, who whips in the cross, a diving header clear by De Ligt. Sabaly tries to reach the loose ball, Mendy is there too, Blind slipped as he cleared it out of play, and the referee signals in the end I think for a Dutch free kick, 0-0.
Yeah, I think obviously it's coming up to half-time now. I think it's actually been a relatively good game. I think both teams have really, Senegal look like they can really catch the Netherlands on the counter, and Netherlands have had a lot of the possession in this game, but they can't quite, get it across the line in the 18-yard box in the final third.
The half-time whistle blows in the Al Thumama Stadium, and a relatively muted reception from the supporters here. We only had the one goalless draw at the 2018 World Cup. We could be heading for a goalless draw here as things stand. Neither goalkeepers had a serious save to make, but the Dutch have certainly had the best chances of the encounter. Frenkie de Jong passing up the best. He was clean through on goal, twisted left, right, hesitated to get his shot away. Cheikhou Kouyaté was able to come across and clear. The likes of Ismaïla Sarr and Crépin Diatta have looked dangerous on the break for the Senegalese, who won the AFCON tournament earlier this year, of course. But it's been tight, it's been cagey, and at the break on TalkSport 2, it is Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0. Thank you, Natalie. Well, it's still relatively busy in and around the stadium, but plenty of spectators still to make their way back to their seats for the
Still
second
walking
half.
around.
They are just walking around wherever they feel like it. It's anybody's seats here, isn't it? Well, there's a delay to kick off. Senegal are going to get the game back underway, all in white with that trim on their kit, the front of the kit of yellow, green and red, the Senegalese flag colours, and the Dutch all in orange shirts, shorts and socks, as you'd expect. Playing from right to left in the second half, the Dutch, and Senegal from left to right towards, actually, ironically, the sort of largest grouping of Netherlands fans, and immediately Koulibaly with a high diagonal ball that goes straight out of play. It's 0-0 here, live on TalkSport 2 at the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Remember, every single match will be live on the TalkSport network. And Senegal with Mendy in goal, Sabaly, Koulibaly, Cissé and Diallo the defenders, Kouyaté, Mendy and Gueye in midfield, with Sarr and Diatta in support of Jar, the lone striker. The goalkeeper for the Netherlands is Noppert, the debutant. De Ligt, Van Dijk and Ake, the centre-halves. Dumfries and Blind are the wing-backs, with Berghaus and De Jong sitting in midfield. Gakpo is playing in support of Janssen and Bergwijn up front, and it's Janssen who's gone down, helped to his feet by his teammate De Ligt, just shy of the halfway line, and the Dutch have a free kick, and the game has been very stop-start a minute into this second period. It certainly threatened to burst into life on a couple of occasions in the first half, but neither goalkeepers had a save to make, Leanne.
No, and I'm actually surprised, Joe, because when you look at the stats of the possession, it's 54% to 46% with Senegal, and I thought that the Netherlands had more of the ball in the first half. So, it's pretty evenly matched, this game. I think a lot of both teams are definitely looking like good. But I would say, Netherlands will be, after last night's game with Qatar losing 2-0, I think if this game was to end 0-0, both Qatar and Ecuador will be the happier of the teams, because I feel like the Netherlands have played well on the attack. I just think Senegal have defended so well today, and I've been quite critical of Koulibaly, but I think, we've spoken about him before when he plays for Senegal. He certainly leads them in an unbelievable way, and I think that's been a difference. I think they've looked organised at the back, Senegal, I really do.
Here is De Jong for the Dutch on the halfway line, ball forward towards Berghaus. Berghaus turns away from Mendy, driving towards the corner of the penalty area. He's got Dumfries on the overlap. Quite quiet suddenly in the stands. The atmosphere was raucous before kick-off, but you can only really hear the beat of the Senegalese drum. We're high up on the halfway line, top tier of the main stand. Jara's got it in the centre circle. Goalkeeper's off his line. Jar, though, controls, tries to race between three orange shirts, and he's not beyond Nathan Ake. He escaped the attentions of Blint and De Jong Elishny, but Ake was in a good position. I just thought for a second there, Jar, as he looked up from miles out, goalkeeper off his line, I thought, is he going to go for goal, Leanne? And he didn't in the end.
Yeah, it was almost like he could have, because Jar was quite isolated on his own down this right-hand side. You know, he was getting completely, there was Frankie de Jong, there was Blin, there was Nathan Ake, all coming at him. So there was really that option, and I don't think he had the awareness to look up to see that Novhart was off his line.
No Sadio Mane for Senegal. Memphis Depay on the Dutch bench. And Senegal, actually, it's worth saying, they are slow starters in games, but they do tend to come on strong in the second halves of matches, the AFCON champions. The Dutch have never won the World Cup, and this is Louis van Gaal's last chance. In fact, Ronald Koeman is going to take over again once this tournament is over. It's Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0, live on TalkSport 2. The ball is back with the goalkeeper Mendy. Mendy square pass to Pape Abou Cissé, skips away from the stretch of Janssen and sends the ball skywards. Dark night sky overhead in Qatar. 3 hours ahead of UK time, the floodlights are on, and it's Van Dijk's ball back to goalkeeper Noppert, and Noppert, all in green, will send it up towards halfway. The thumping header clear by Kouyaté. Quite a scrappy start to the second half up to this point. 3.5 minutes of it been played. We're still yet to see the game's opening goal. In the second match in Group A, the Dutch take on Ecuador next. For Senegal, they will play the hosts Qatar. So a positive result tonight, even a draw for Senegal, could put them in really good shape if they were to beat Qatar in their second match. Here is Sabali, 10 yards from the dead ball line for Senegal, the right back who loves to get forward. It's cleared away though by De Jong, and Blint for the first time passing his left foot up to the halfway line. Stretching on the slide is Kouyaté, and it's out of play for a Dutch foe. Look a bit just disjointed, both sides in this second half so far, Leanne.
Yeah, definitely completely different to how the first half started. It looks quite flat, you know, in the way that the second half has come out. But again, you know, they're going to see Netherlands need to find a way to break down the Senegalese back line. They really do.
There's a chance for Gakpo, racing away from the tackle of Diallo, playing it infield to Denzel Dumfries on the burst into the box. Koulibaly came across to block him off, and then Koulibaly was clattered into by his own teammate Cissé, and the Dutch eventually win themselves a corner on the far side of the field as we look at it.
That's how hungry they are to defend, Joe. I mean, it's quite fantastic to see out-and-out defenders. It almost reminds me of Bonucci and Chiellini. You know, they have that partnership in there where they just are hungry to not let the ball go in the back of the net, and here they are again having to defend another set piece.
The Dutch centre-halves are forward. Gakpo, right-footed delivery, well taken by Mendy, jumping with Nathan Ake, and the Chelsea goalkeeper held firm on the edge of his 6-yard box. 6'6", and he needed all his frame, Leanne.
That was good from Mendy. He come and collected it very, very well. But I still think, you know, Cody Gakpo, they've had a lot of set pieces, a lot of corners, and I don't think they've capitalised on that at all. I feel like a lot of them have been pretty comfortable for the keeper, or for Senegal to be able to get it away. You've got to put those balls in those areas. And, you know, I feel like the Netherlands need to mix up their runs as well when they're running into the box, because they've had a lot of corners now.
We've got comprehensive wall-to-wall coverage of the World Cup on the TalkSport network. Our Wales team are ready for their opening group game against the United States. It'll be live over on TalkSport at 7 o'clock UK time. Dean Saunders earlier on sent a photo to our WhatsApp group of his Lucky Wales underpants. Now, he wasn't wearing them, I should say. They were hooked up on the door handle.
Thanks for that clarification, Joe.
I think it's important for everybody. But they're there, they're in position, and they're ready to go after we brought you England's thumping 6-2 win over Iran earlier. And tomorrow the games keep on coming. 10 o'clock on TalkSport 2, Argentina against Saudi Arabia. Lionel Messi and co get underway. Then on TalkSport at 1, Denmark against Tunisia, followed by Mexico against Poland. I'll be with Tony Cascarino for that one. And France against Australia, last up tomorrow, as we welcome listeners from TalkSport to the Al Thumama Stadium. Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0, 7 minutes into the second half. Virgil van Dijk in possession for the Dutch, who are playing from right to left, all in orange. And Leanne Sanderson, former England striker, alongside me. This second half has not got going at all. It's very flat and matched by the atmosphere in the stands, I have to say.
Absolutely, and I think you can see both managers have sent the substitutes out there. We can see Memphis Depay warming up as well with Luke de Jong, and a lot of the substitutes are down there. So I think a substitute, I said it at half-time, could really make a difference in this game, because it has definitely gone a bit flat.
As Gakpo wins a corner for the Netherlands on the far side of the field. Best way to keep in touch with our wall-to-wall coverage of the whole tournament on the TalkSport network is to download the TalkSport app. You can swipe between the two stations at your leisure. Remember, TalkSport later on will bring you full commentary of the USA against Wales. Our team are in position in the stadium and ready to go for commentary. Corner for the Dutch. Far side, Gakpo will take it, right-footed, out-swinging, Van Dijk with a header over the top. Virgil van Dijk on his major tournament debut, a couple of yards lower, and that would have been 1-0 to the Netherlands.
Yeah, we've seen that happen quite a lot in this game. It's a good delivery from Gakpo. I think as well, like in the last instance, Mendy came out and collected it, but again, Virgil van Dijk, it's almost like he's jumping too early, and then the ball kind of hits him, because it almost like it looked like it hit him on the shoulder. It's his head in the end, but it's almost like he's getting up too early, and then it's always going to go sailing over the bar. But he's definitely getting closer and closer, and the fact that Cody Gakpo is able to put the ball in his head on set piece is definitely a positive. But at some point, one of them needs to go in the back of the net.
It is still Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0. Although the Dutch have not been without chances. Edouard Mendy has not had a save to make. That is, I think, been the big frustration for Van Gaal, who's sat in his technical area in a dark suit, an orange tie. Aliou Cissé, his counterpart, the former Birmingham midfielder who was in the Senegal side that surprised France at the 2002 World Cup in the opening game, pacing around his technical area, his arms folded, his side coming forward now with Diallo rather tentatively, midway inside the Dutch half, early high cross towards Jar, only half cleared away by Daley Blind. It wasn't convincing, and they won it back here, Senegal. Sabali goes for goal from the angle, and it's blocked by Blind, and it's going to fly out of play. Now what's the referee going to say here? It's a throw right by the corner flag.
Yeah, it actually opened up for Sabali, but I'm surprised he didn't slot in Diatta down this right-hand side, because they had an overload, a 2v1, where Daley Blind didn't know whether he should come or go, and he took the shot off, and now it's gone out for a throw. So I'm surprised he didn't slot it in, but that's what we want to see. We want to see players shooting and taking risks in these games.
A throw taken by Sabali, infield to the number 9 Jar, back out wide to Sabali again, forward towards Kouyaté, holds it up by the dead ball line. The cross took a deflection of Ake, certainly. Ake wanted a throw, he thought it came off the shins of Kouyaté on its way into touch. This throw being taken right in front of where a lot of the Dutch subs are going through quite a ferocious warm-up. Cones have been laid out, and Koulibaly will roll the ball back to Mendy, the goalkeeper. Is it Milian, or does it look quieter in the stands in the second half in terms of supporters than it did in the first? Maybe one or two more empty seats?
It definitely does, Joe, but I sound like a stuck record, but genuinely, I've never known so many people to walk around the middle of the stadium so much. Genuinely, this whole game is like people have not sat down, they're just walking around the stadium. But it definitely looks like, to the left-hand side from where we are in the commentary box, that there's certainly a lot of empty seats there, but hopefully they'll start to fill up as the half goes on. But we're already 10 minutes into it.
This is not a huge stadium, holds only 40,000 or so. 10 minutes into the second period, they're still yet to see a goal. It remains 0-0. Forward by Van Dijk over the halfway line. Berghuis with the yellow boots on collects. A 10-yard pass up towards Dumfries. Right-hand edge of the penalty area. He's got Gakpo in support. Gakpo trying to twist and turn away from the challenge of Cissé. Wriggles towards the dead ball line. Pulls it across towards Janssen. In a tackle with Koulibaly. Koulibaly wins that. Gakpo did superbly well to get the cross in. And then that's a foul on the far side of the field. And the referee, I think, is going to produce a yellow card here for Matthijs de Ligt, and indeed he does. De Ligt with a lunging challenge on Ismail Assar, and that is the first yellow card of the night.
Yeah, I think De Ligt's just letting him know that he's there. I think that was a yellow card. He was very late, but I always think you can tell how poorly the game's going when people start doing the Mexican wave, and they've started it prematurely behind the goal. But that, for me, it shows you the quality of this second half. I think it's really, really lowered, and I don't think it's got anything to do with the temperature, because it's the perfect night for football. The pitch is absolutely brilliant, and I just feel like the quality in the second half has really, really dropped.
It's even like an apathetic Mexican wave. I don't think it's going to make our way its way round here, Leanne.
It's definitely not.
If it does, we join in though, right? Surely.
Absolutely.
It's the World Cup.
Of course.
A confirmation over the PA of that yellow card for De Ligt. You don't hear that very often. And Mendy has the ball, the Senegal goalkeeper. No pace to this game whatsoever. Although the Dutch probably do look the more likely to score, and Gakpo that creative influence, the PSV Eindhoven player who has really taken on that forefront role in the absence of Depay from the starting 11. Looks the man most likely to make something happen at least.
In the first half, Joe, I felt like, Virgil van Dijk was trying to diagonal and trying to get Bergwijn in, but I actually feel like it's been quite a tactic of both teams where they seem to have bypassed the midfield quite a lot. They're not really playing through the channels. They're almost trying to go route one quite a lot in this game, which has quite surprised me quite a lot.
That's a good ball by De Ligt, forward high towards the halfway line, well won back by Koulibaly though, and now Ismail Assar racing forward fleet-footed up towards the edge of the penalty area, twisting and turning, Jar in the middle, deflected cross towards Diatta, headed away by Nathan Ake. It comes back to Sabali trying a 1-2 with Jar, who lays it back instead to Kouyaté, infield and square to Papi Mendy. Our Senegal building here, still waiting for the first goal. Diallo's cross, Gay was there, Diatta's there, far post, stretching to try and meet it. Never looked likely to get that under control, and it's gone in the end well wide.
I don't know why Senegal is so reluctant to deliver the ball in, because whenever they get the opportunity, that's a really good ball from Diallo. I thought Nathan Ake it was really strange. It's almost like he let the ball go past him. He was in a position where he could have blocked it, and Diatta was just almost, a little bit off. But I'm not sure why Diallo is so apprehensive about putting the ball into the box, because I feel like the Netherlands back line do look shaky, especially now De Ligt's now on a yellow card as well.
There's still that beat of the drum to the left of our commentary position in the lower tier. The Senegal fans who've got their flags waving and their spectacular drum beat as Mendy skips over the halfway line for Senegal, the diminutive midfielder. He tried to squeeze it into the path of Jar. De Ligt's touch on the intercept was heavy, but he still managed to roll it back to goalkeeper Noppert, who, like Edouard Mendy, has been almost completely unemployed. And we tick towards the hour mark, and surely both coaches thinking about a change. Janssen plays it square on the right to Dumfries for the Netherlands. Far side of the field as we look at it. Into the penalty area now. Dinks in the cross. Behind Janssen, headed away by Kouyaté. Comes down to De Jong. And now Berghuis, dangerous on his left foot. 25 yards out, shoots. Takes a big deflection of Koulibaly. And Bergwijn will let it trickle behind for a corner to the Netherlands. Live on TalkSport 2, 0-0.
That was a really good strike from Berghuis. From this angle, it almost looked like those ones. The deflection came from Koulibaly, but sometimes it looks like they're going towards goal, but it was going pretty far off. So not a bad effort. We're not really seeing many people take the opportunity on to shoot in this game. So another set piece, another corner coming from Cody Gakpo from the left-hand side.
Van Dijk striding forward, the captain, up to the edge of the 6-yard line. Ake is there as well. In fact, there's a Senegalese player down inside the penalty area. Can't see who it is because he's crowded out by his teammates in front of him, and Gakpo, hands on hips, is going to have to wait to take the corner. Lots of flags actually from all sorts of different nations around the stadium. I can see a Mexico flag and an Argentinian flag behind the goal to the left hand side. It's Diallo, who I think is crouched down, the defender, inside the 18-yard box, and the Netherlands are going to bring on Memphis Depay very shortly. Their number 10 is stripped and ready to go. I mean, if you're fit enough to come off the bench, I don't know why you're not fit enough to start, but anyway.
It's difficult though, Joe, because maybe they're managing his minutes during this competition.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but for him to start in a game like this, I mean, I feel like this is a great opportunity for them. He's going to be a game changer. I mentioned it before about a substitute potentially making the difference. I'm surprised that he's even fit enough to be able to come into this game, but I think he could really be a game changer.
Corner to the Netherlands, 0-0, whipped in by Gakpo, headed up into the air by Koulibaly, not away yet. Here comes Mendy, punches away one-handed, good distance on that punch from Edouard Mendy. A throw to the Dutch, here comes that change, and Senegal, I think, readying a substitution themselves. In fact, the referee's just having a conversation with Diallo, who might have to go off injured here, and certainly both teams want to make a change very shortly indeed. And Ismail Jacobs, the Monaco left back, is the man who's going to come on for Senegal, but it's Janssen who is replaced for the Netherlands. And Memphis Depay, would you believe it, Leanne, his first appearance since September.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Joe. I mean, it's difficult to play in these types of games, the intensity. I just hope that he's ready. I think Janssen did his best, but I just don't think he's got that extra that Memphis has. Not many players do, and I think Janssen changes the way that the Netherlands play. He's very unselfish, setting the ball back. Now the Netherlands can maybe pick up the ball, drive at players. I don't think they've really done that. They've not really gone 1v1 in these type of situations. So Memphis will definitely be a game changer.
And that other substitution we mentioned, Abdou Diallo forced off, and Ismail Jacobs with the yellow boots on is his replacement. So Memphis Depay is onto the field, the man who scored 12 goals in World Cup qualifying. Van Dijk, high diagonal ball for the Dutch, out to the far side, headed away by Jacobs. Straight away his first touch in the left back position. You're with TalkSport 2 and it's still 0-0. And more games coming for you tomorrow. We mentioned those, and on Wednesday Morocco against Croatia on TalkSport 2, then 3 games on TalkSport. Germany, Japan, Spain get their campaign underway against Costa Rica. Spain were mentioned as one of the pre-tournament favourites by Louis van Gaal actually, and then Belgium up against Canada. Chance for Bergwijn's control inside the 18-yard box with his back to goal, twisting and turning the number 7, teases it back towards Berghuis, a square ball to Ake. The Dutch are seeing more and more of the ball with just under half an hour to go, but can they finally have an effort on target, a meaningful effort on target anyway?
Yeah, I think as well with the Netherlands, I mean, bringing a player like Memphis Depay on, I feel like it lifts the rest of the team hopefully and gives them that little bit of extra confidence that if they find him the ball, he will do something with it. I like Janssen, I feel like setting the ball back, whereas Memphis, as you mentioned, hasn't played for a while, so we'll have to wait and see.
And Diatta, near side the right, holds it up cleverly in front of Depay, who's got his socks rolled down, halfway down his shins, a bit like Jack Grealish, who was among the England scorers earlier today in that 6-2 victory over Iran. What a start for Gareth Southgate's side, live on TalkSport, and TalkSport the place for commentary of the USA against Wales at 7 o'clock UK time. That's a 10 o'clock start in Doha, so a late night for our Wales commentary team, and actually depending on the result maybe a very late night, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a player I used to like midweek night games, but playing at 10 o'clock, yeah. That's very late, because also you're having to watch what you're eating during the day. You have the pre-match meal 3 hours before the game and those types of things, but you're going to be probably overloading with, hydration, all those types of things. 10 o'clock is a late game.
A free kick to Senegal, of course, with the score as it is, still goalless. It's so finely balanced, this game. 26 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Very cagey, I think, particularly from a Senegal perspective up to this point. Papi Mendy's going to trot across and take this free kick. He simply taps it back to Koulibaly. Koulibaly of Chelsea, a slip by Kouyaté, headed away by Ake for the Netherlands unopposed, and now De Jong blocked off by the industrious Mendy, and it's dropped for Diatta. Diatta infield, thinks about going for goal, sets up Jar, who goes for it, right-footed from the angle. Good save by Noppert, alerted his near post. Van Dijk was not quite alerted enough to prevent the corner, but that's Noppert's first real test, and the goalkeeper passed it, a save you'd expect him to make, and it's a corner to Senegal, 0-0.
Yeah, really good interception from Mendy that got it going. I think Jar, he almost caught Noppert off guard because he struck it so early. And I feel like people expect him to drop his shoulder and take it, but struck it early and caused a lot of problem for the Netherlands.
And Diatta will take the corner. Kouyaté, Cissé and Koulibaly all forward. It's whipped in high towards Koulibaly, who tried to climb. Header went away from goal, drops down to the near side, and Sabaly sets up Diatta, pass over hits, and Diatta will do well as the cross is driven in. The flag is up on the near side. It had definitely gone out of play. I was going to say he'd do well to keep it in. He didn't keep it in, and it's a goal kick to the Netherlands, but a warning sign for Louis van Gaal's team.
Absolutely, and I feel like this second half has been quite flat, Joe. I feel like in the first half the players looked like they were ready, the first game, but now it almost, to me, looks like I'm watching a pre-season game at times. The tempo, they're picking up the ball. Virgil van Dijk's got the ball now, comes inside, it's very, very slow and pedantic. I feel like, we want a little bit of oomph, and maybe Memphis can bring that. I think Frankie de Jong's had a really good game, but there's not much movement. Cody Gakpo's in the middle of the pitch now and not really making much movement.
That's a great ball by Berghuis though to find Blint in acres of space, plenty of time to whip it across, headed away by Cissé. Comes down towards Gakpo, nods it down from the edge of the box, and now Dumfries, angle very tight, flag stayed down. They were looking for a free kick, Senegal. They're going to get one in the end from the referee. Dumfries was right to play on because the flag didn't go up, but eventually the referee from Brazil, Wilton Sampaio, did blow his whistle. We are into the final quarter of the game. Senegal 0, the Netherlands 0, live from the World Cup at the floodlit Al Thumama Stadium. And here's the former England striker Leanne Sanderson.
I thought he solved that really well there, because I actually think there was minimal contact. I can see why the ref gave it as a foul, but I feel like there was minimal contact on him. But, like I said, Joe, I feel like the game's gone quite flat. potentially we could see some more substitutions made. Looks like they're about to make one now, Senegal, but I feel like the game's gone really flat and it needs that little bit of spark, a little bit more movement in the midfield to get on the ball, to get away from players, because the longer the game goes on, Senegal will be happy with this.
Koulibaly is charged up to the centre circle ferociously, lays it back to Mendy. Senegal are going to bring on Cheikh Bamba Dieng of Marseille very shortly. Only scored one international goal. One goal is surely going to be enough for either team tonight, though. That appears for certain, Leanne, you'd have to say.
Yeah, it seems that way, Joe, with the way the game's going.
A good little flick by Sarr, hooked away by De Ligt for the Netherlands up to the halfway line, and now Berghuis will steer it high and long. Gakpo will chase, but Edouard Mendy's just going to let this trickle out of play. It has been very pedestrian and one-paced at times from both sides in the second half, and maybe that's down to nerves and pressure, Leanne, I don't know, or am I making excuses?
I mean, I think, for me, I don't think it's necessarily nerves and pressure. These players, it is a World Cup, but these players have played at the highest level in massive games, but also, these players have played a lot of football. And, it's the middle of the season for most of them, and I feel like there's a lot of games, so I'm not making excuses for them, but you will get games like this during the World Cup. You're not going to be able to get every single game, off to a flyer. I feel like England were amazing today. They had a lot of pace, winning the game 6-2, but I feel like other than that, the performances so far, I've only had like 2 other games, but they haven't been the best, have they? Qatar, Ecuador wasn't the best quality. This game I don't think's had the best quality either, and hopefully later, Wales, USA, I think will have a lot of intensity, because USA have those types of players that have the pace that will hopefully bring that to it. But this game, it's gone quite flat, Joe.
Kouyate's gone down hurt here. That USA-Wales game will be live on Talk Sport. They've called for the physios. Kouyaté lying down on his back. It was a leap on the halfway line, and he was caught by De Jong, who swung his arm out and just seemed to catch Kouyaté inadvertently, and Kouyaté being treated down on the field of play. The USA against Wales underway 7 o'clock UK time. And sometimes, Leanne, I find myself wondering what time or what day it is.
Tell me about it, Joe. I feel the same. It's been a whirlwind, but it's amazing to just be part of something, a World Cup. I was fortunate enough to do the Euros in the summer with TalkSport, but being here at a major tournament, the men's game, is absolutely brilliant, and all the different types of fans.
I've just seen Edgar Davids stride towards the near side touchline, part of the Dutch coaching team, to have a quick word with Frenkie de Jong. Now there was a player, Edgar Davids, and actually Van Gaal is down there now as well, 71 years of age, the former Manchester United manager, and I'm afraid to say the stretch has been called for Cheikhou Kouyaté, who was caught accidentally in the groin area by De Jong, and there didn't look to be that much in it, but Kouyaté lying on his back and in a bit of pain, and may well have to be stretched off here. They've readied the change, I think, Senegal, and with 20 minutes to go, Kouyaté, somewhat surprisingly, I thought, Leanne, it looks like he's going to have to leave the field, and I think it's Pape Gueye who's going to come on.
Yeah, it looked pretty innocuous, to be honest. It didn't really look like there was much in that, but hopefully he's going to be okay and it's nothing too serious.
Ali Cissé has got a serious look on his face, and the Senegal fans behind the dugout, we've just seen a clip of them on our monitor, are literally dancing up and down, waving their arms. They are all decked out in the colours of the Senegalese flag, yellow, green and red, and they're waving their flags proudly as well. Kouyaté is on the stretcher.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. Hope he's going to be okay.
Well, that will be it for him for today, at least. And I mentioned Pape Gueye is going to take to the field, the Marseille player who made 6 appearances in the successful African Cup of Nations campaign, and Gueye it is, he's going to come on. And the last thing really this game needs, it has been a poor second half, is another stoppage. There's been no rhythm or fluency really about both sides, you have to say.
No, but let's hope that maybe this might kick them all into touch, because it just looks, you can see the body language of them out there. They're not really communicating. The Senegalese players are, but the Netherlands are just kind of, it looks like a formality. Or again, I say again, Joe, it looks like it's almost like a pre-season game.
It's a strange atmosphere. It's not particularly warm here, so these are not energy sapping conditions, but clearly both sides have really struggled to find much rhythm in their play. The Dutch have looked the more likely, albeit that said, Noppert, the Dutch goalkeeper, is the man who's had to make the one real save, and confirmation of that change coming up. In fact, actually, I think the game's going to be restarted before Senegal can bring on Pape Gay. All eyes on the referee, and they'll be temporarily down to 10 men. It's with Sabali in the right back position, nudges it back towards Koulibaly. Koulibaly under pressure from Depay has taken it straight out of play, and Ali Cisse desperately wants to get his man onto the field. In fact, they are waiting, I think, because they're going to make a double substitution, so they're playing with 10 at the moment. Can the Dutch take advantage? It's Berghuis with his back to goal, finds Denzel Dumfries, runs into the challenge, the brave challenge of Papi Mendy, and now Idrissa Gueye skipping over the halfway line, lays it to the left, and Sarr driving forward towards the edge of the box. Cheikh Bamba Dieng is square, Sarr goes on, lays it square to Idrissa Gueye, into the box, brilliant save by Noppert. He saw that through a crowd and parried it away, and the flag is up, possibly against the players who are looking to reach the rebound. That would have been Diatta or Sarr. Gay certainly wasn't offside in the build-up, and that's a terrific save from Noppert.
Yeah, really good save. Idrissa Gueye caught that really well. It was almost like hit it on the outside of his foot. Really good. I think it was a pretty comfortable save for Noppert in the end. I feel like it was moving. As we've seen, a lot of the ball does move during this competition, but in the end, I think they rode that wave pretty well. But I feel like, you know, again, it's quite disjointed. I was hoping that stoppage in play could maybe kickstart, you know, the game again, but hasn't really done that. I feel like the players I think Netherlands look really tired. I don't think Senegal looked tired. I think they defended really well, but when I look at the Netherlands and their body language, I mean, I mentioned Memphis coming on making a difference, but he's kind of just hanging out up front on his own. You know, he's barely touched the ball since he's come into the game, and he's watching, and Delit's on the ball now, and it's almost like, you know, where's the movement?
A confirmation of that double change. Pape Gay has come on for Cheikhou Kouyaté, and Nicholas Jackson on to make his senior international debut, the World Cup. The 21-year-old has replaced Crépin Diatta. We have 16 minutes to go, plus what you would imagine would be a fair bit of stoppage time on TalkSport 2. It's Sabali with a terrible ball straight out of play, and a throw to the Netherlands on the halfway line, and that somewhat sums up this second half, really.
Yeah, it's quite strange, and I feel like Sabali just kicked the ball out of play completely unopposed. The quality just definitely hasn't been there, but having said that, there's still 15 minutes to go, you know, and I feel like anything can happen in this game. All it needs is one opportunity, as we saw Gay when he took that shot there. You know, Noppert had to pull off a really good save in the end, so anything can happen.
They're raiding down the right hand side. Sorry, Leanne, the touch was heavy in the end. Any little bit of excitement we can get, we'll try and pounce on. He was well marshalled by De Jong. 15 to go. The USA against Wales in Group B over on TalkSport. Tonight on TalkSport 2, the EFL show from 6, Women's Football Weekly from 7, and of course when the Premier League resumes on Boxing Day, every game will be live on the TalkSport network, and we can look forward to that a long way though before then. Opportunity for Sarr, corner of the penalty area. Can he work it onto his favoured right foot? He does just that, and then Dieng with a left-footed effort rather clumsily sent skywards and well wide. He never looked like troubling Noppert from there as it was played back to him.
Yeah, Delit there got caught in behind. I mean, the pace was incredible, but it was quite off balance by the time he struck it, but Delit got caught in behind there quite badly.
A long ball up towards Depay, well controlled to cushion the header clear by Koulibaly, but then he's going to get it straight to Dumfries. Here's Bergwijn, back out wide to Dumfries, sliding tackle coming in, brave and firm but fair from Ismail Jacobs, the substitute. He gets a big high five from Papi Mendy as well. It is tight and it is really nervy, this game, and there will be a corner on the far side that the Dutch will take. Just over 41,000 here apparently tonight. Certainly not every seat has been taken up, far from it. Probably about 2/3 full maybe. The Netherlands have a corner again. It's 0-0. One goal would surely be enough for either side. Plenty forward, and Depay's gone short, but I think Gakpo will take it and loft it high into the penalty area, right-footed and out swinging, got plenty to aim at. It's high towards Ake, who heads it down, hooked away by Koulibaly, up towards the halfway line, brought down cleverly by De Jong, who slips it to the right, and now here's Berghuis into opposition territory. Depay with a good turn, spinning to the left-hand side, lays it out towards Blind. Blind is midway into the Senegal half, long diagonal ball, goalkeeper stays at home, headed away bravely by the defender Jacobs again, and he was fouled by Denzel Dumfries, and that will be a free kick.
Yeah, and that was the Netherlands' 6th corner of the game, and I feel like, you know, they've had a lot of set pieces, free kicks as well, and I just don't think they've capitalised on it. I'll give Senegal a lot of credit because I said it in the first half, they defended unbelievably well, but I just feel like the Netherlands just don't look like they can break them down at all. In the middle of the park, you know, they're not being mobile in their movement, and again, you know, they need something, because I think if this game was to end 0-0, you know, who knows what will happen to the Netherlands in this competition, because I think people expected them to win this group, I think, pretty comfortably.
Well, it's interesting. Senegal, we mentioned, 2 World Cups prior to this 2022 edition, and they won both their opening matches. The Dutch haven't lost an opening game since 1938, so maybe a game of this like was always possible. Remember, we have plenty of stoppage time to go, so don't go anywhere just yet. There's a double change on the way. I can see the shaven-headed Davy Klaassen, formerly of Everton, ready to come on, and Toon Koopmeiners, who's a promising young midfielder as well. Depay is fouled, and will the Dutch make the change here? All eyes on the referee, and they will make that change. Steven Bergwijn coming off, he's not made much of an impact. And Klaassen, hands on hips, who was considered a possible starter, will be his replacement. And the other change, we'll see Berghuis come off, and Koopmeiners, tall and slender, to come off.
I like Klaassen. I feel like he's very good. You know, he's really good at getting into the box, making those runs, those third man runs, and I feel like he could cause a problem in this game. And he also gets on the score sheet quite often as well.
Well, it's interesting, because the Dutch have probably had more of the ball, but Senegal have had the 2 efforts on target in this second half. Up to this point on TalkSport 2. Remember, back tomorrow morning with commentary of Argentina against Saudi Arabia, then 3 games for you from the World Cup on TalkSport. Denmark against Tunisia, Christian Eriksen, of course, we expect to start. Mexico against Poland, and then France get their campaign underway in Group D against Australia. I just love it when the games come thick and fast like this, Leanne. Louis van Gaal sitting in his position in the technical area, hair slicked back, in conversation with a member of his coaching staff. As stretching to make an interception in the middle of the Dutch midfield is Koopmeiners, and he shanks his left-footed pass straight out of play. 24, plays his football at Atalanta in Serie A, and actually it's his major tournament debut tonight. Amazing the lack of pace and urgency from both sides in the game, but I guess, Leanne, they'll also be aware that they're probably the 2 most evenly matched sides in the group. Yeah,
but you don't want to see this type of football. I was really excited in the first half. I feel like the crowd has gone quite flat. We can see the Netherlands fans behind the goal there to our right-hand side. You know, I don't think if it wasn't for this Senegalese fans down there on the left, it would be so quiet in here. There's no energy. Even the ref didn't get booed off at half-time. You know, it doesn't matter how well the ref's doing. Fans booed them anyway. No one even did anything. So, you know, I keep saying it's super flat in here. It really is. And thankfully the Senegalese fans are down there to the left-hand side banging the drum. They've been super loud during this whole game.
If you're not even booing the referee, time to worry, right?
You know what I mean, though? It's like everyone's bruised anyway, don't they? Even if the ref's made a good decision.
It's all been a little bit listless. And even the crowd, there's a bit of an apathy, particularly among the neutrals, and I think most of the crowd are neutrals here tonight. And not too many have left their seats before the end of the game. We've still got 9.5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Still plenty of time, of course, for a winning goal. De Jong lit for the centre circle. Now Gakpo made a good run up the middle, but De Jong elected to hang on to the ball. Now infield from Blind from the near side to left, and Depay back towards the halfway line, and Nathan Ake wearing number 5. Long dark hair. Square ball to the ever recognisable Van Dijk, whose pass is poor, intercepted by Jackson midway inside his own half. Now can they launch a counter-attack? It's Idrissa Gueye over the halfway line, feeding Sarr darting forward, and Jacobs in support on the underlap. Sarr cornered the penalty area onto his right foot. Idrissa Gueye might size one up. He's played it square to Sabali from the near side touchline. Opportunity for Pape Gueye to hold it up. Back to Sabali again. The Dutch have got plenty of orange shirts back behind the ball. Still 0-0. Pape Gueye from the near side touchline to the centre circle, and Cisse now out to the right, the far side, the left, and Jacobs hangs up the cross, and the looping header is high over the top, and the referee looked at Ismaila Sarr, who appeals for a penalty, and the immediate signal from the Brazilian referee is no, get up, get on with it, goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, that was quite, you know, it almost hit Ismaila Sarr. He was going down before the ball. He should have maybe focused on the header, because it ended up hitting him almost on the back of the head, because he was looking for a penalty before the ball would even come in. So
Well, credit to the Senegal fans, the loudest group of them, who are right behind the Senegal dugout, who have not stopped making noise since minute 1.
I think Senegal will be happy with this if it stays the same as we saw there. You know, they weren't even trying to go towards goal. They're trying to almost not hold the ball in the corner flag, but just delay it, slow it down. For me, if I was Louis van Gaal, I'd bring on Malacia and take off Daley Blind. I think he could cause a problem.
Long high forward up towards Koopmeiners, who went down on the edge of the penalty area again looking for a free kick. All the way it goes through to Mendy, and actually now it's Pape Abou Cissé who is hurt in and around his own penalty spot, and he's helped to his feet by Koulibaly. Both sides, you're right, Leanne. Senegal in particular look almost happy to play this game out for a draw. Of course, it's Senegal who play Qatar in their next group game, and we'll bring you commentary of that one as well. And in a sense, there'll be more pressure on the Netherlands in their next match when they take on Ecuador, who have already got a win. So that's the kind of dynamics of group stage football, isn't it, really?
Yeah, Senegal will look to frustrate the Netherlands, you know, as the game eases out. We'll see players start to go down. You know, the dark arts of football waste a little bit of time, because even when Senegal have got the ball in good areas, they've not really, apart from Diallo before he went off and put the ball into the box to try and score, when I actually think the Netherlands look like they could concede at some point. So I think that Senegal, if it stays the same, will be the happier team. And to be honest, Joe, it doesn't look like any team's going to find a breakthrough, because it doesn't look like either team wants to find a breakthrough.
It remains 0-0, and frustratingly so. Cleared long downfield by Ake, up towards Depay. Klaassen climbing with a header. Depay has hooked it on, high up through the middle, and now Gakpo almost got in on the burst behind Cissé. He's managed to hold the play up, level the edge of the 18-yard box. Back it goes to Koopmeiners, deflected cross, chested down by Depay, hooks it away from one defender, not beyond Sabali. That would have been some goal if he'd been able to get the shot away. It's back with Depay again on the corner of the 18-yard box, and now Frenkie de Jong with a chance to whip in the cross. Mendy's beaten to it, and it's headed in. Cody Gakpo lights up the World Cup for the Netherlands. That could be the winning goal to get their group stage campaign off to the perfect start. What a cross from de Jong. Mendy came and didn't get there, and it's the young man Cody Gakpo heading home his first World Cup goal, and it's Senegal 0, the Netherlands 1, and it's the Dutch who've got the late goal.
Absolutely, Joe, and I was just saying a second ago, you know, it needed a little bit of extra nice touch, and I feel like the ball from Frenkie de Jong, I spoke about him in the first half, fantastic ball. Cody Gakpo with the goal, and we said, didn't we, that it would just take one goal to potentially win this game. He had a couple of opportunities where, you know, he could have put the ball in, but I think Mendy, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Cody Gakpo getting across, but it was kind of the one time that Cissé and Koulibaly switched off during that moment, but Mendy's come two hands to punch it, and you know, he's not come and got it, he's got to come and collect that, or Koulibaly and Cissé have to come and defend it. They're putting their hands up for offside, definitely wasn't offside, and in the end it's quite brave from Cody Gakpo, and he looks over his shoulder and it's gone in the back of the net, and it looks like that will probably be the winning goal. But I feel for the Senegal players, I really do, because they switched off for that one moment and Cody Gakpo has punished them.
With 6 minutes to go, and the Dutch Footballer of the Year of last season has headed the Netherlands into the lead, and might that be enough for them? It's 1-0 to the Dutch on TalkSport 2, and I think you have to look at Edouard Mendy. Here is Sarr trying to barge through beyond 2 and 3 in orange, but Klaassen gets across to whip it off his toes, and now the Dutch have got to keep their concentration as they look to see this game out. Early ball out to the near side, and Sabali, and now Jackson in the penalty area for Senegal, right hand side of it, back towards Sabali in a crossing position, but he's held up by Daley Blind, and Sabali plays it back towards Pape Gueye. Gueye goes for goal, and Noppert had to plunge to his left. It very nearly squeezed in at the near post beyond the goalkeeper. He is 6'8", and he needed all of his reach to claw that away for a corner.
Yeah, I think Noppert didn't realise he was almost wrong-footing himself, and he was going the other way. It's a good save in the end.
Corner's been taken short. It's with Sabali, edge of the box, plays it back now to Papi Mendy. Mendy with a deep cross, high to the far post, and it's Cissé who's in there with his back to goal. Held it up neatly to find Sarr. Sarr dinks in the cross. It's deflected behind off Nathan Ake. Senegal have a corner. No great noise at the Al Thumama Stadium. The Dutch lead by a goal to nil. That late goal from Gakpo, and now they're defending nervously, Leanne.
Yeah, it's quite amazing actually. The intensity seems to have got a little bit better, Joe, since the goal, and I feel like, Senegal maybe can capitalise on this set piece.
Corner's going to be taken short by Pape Gueye, all the way back towards Jacobs. I think it was mishit because it's gone to the centre circle. And Mendy's deep high cross, that should be easy for Noppert, who gathers it well. And I tell you what, Leanne Sanderson, yes, there may be two saves that you'd expect him to make, but for a goalkeeper making his international debut at a World Cup, that second save was really impressive.
Yeah, because it looked like it was almost going to sneak. It looked like he was going to go far post and it was going to sneak in on the near post. So in the end, a really good save, really, really good. But again, Senegal get a corner and they pass it all the way back. It doesn't make sense.
And now Depay looking to race through the middle. He's been tackled by Mendy, who has been absolutely tireless and so full of energy. Actually, unlike many of the players on the field, it's with the feet of Blint out to the near side, and Depay, the Dutch left. Depay will keep it in play. Had a hamstring injury that had kept him out for nearly 2 months in the build-up to this tournament. And Depay rolls it back towards De Jong, who's 10 yards into opposition territory, glides away from Jackson. Now he picks up the pace and steers it infield. Out to the near side, the left, and the touchline again, and Daley Blint. It's 1-0 to the Netherlands with just over 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go. And actually, talking of goalkeepers, it was a cause of great controversy in the Dutch media in the build-up, the selection of 3 such inexperienced goalkeepers by Louis van Gaal. Well, so far, and we are very early on in the group stages, early on in the tournament, that selection has paid off. Always trusted, experienced manager, Leanne.
Absolutely, and he's a fantastic manager, he really is. And that's why he's won in many, many clubs where he's managed, and that's why the Netherlands have done so well. But I still think they've been quite underwhelming. I think Noppert's pulled off a couple of good saves. One of them I'd expect him to make, the second one there. Really good save in the end because he looked like he was going the other way, was going to get wrong-footed, nice strong hand down. But I was saying, Joe, Senegal get a corner and end up going all the way back, and then the Netherlands get out, and it's just a wasteful. Just put the ball in the box. Anything can happen.
Wales get their group stage campaign underway. Live over on TalkSport in just over an hour against the United States. Here in Group A, the Netherlands lead Senegal by a goal to nil, and they've got comfortable possession deep inside opposition territory. Of course, Leanne, just as I say that, Senegal win it back.
Commentator's curse, it happened to me. I said neither team looked like they were going to score, and then Cody Gakpo scored about 20 seconds later.
A header away by Ake from inside his own half. De Jong shoved in the back by Dieng. He did well there, actually, De Jong, to position himself right in front of Sheikh Bamba Dieng at the crucial moment, and that nudge in the back. And a free kick.
That was clever from De Jong. Run down the clock a little bit. They're ahead. Very, very clever. Drew the foul. 3 players around him.
We were talking about the enthusiasm in the crowd, or lack of it, earlier, Leanne. One of my colleagues has just messaged me to say maybe they're missing their beer.
Yeah, maybe.
They need a lift from somewhere. The Dutch fans have certainly had that. Big group behind the goal to the right, the opposite end at which Gakpo scored, and you can see orange shirts scattered about the stadium. Time ticking away.
I've just realised those Netherlands fans behind the goal actually have 2 drums, but they are being completely drowned out by the Senegalese. Can you see them just there? They've got 2 drums, but no one's really vibing with them. They're just banging it, whereas the Senegalese fans are actually, they've not stopped banging the drum.
They've got a dance routine going on. That's a good spot, Leanne. We're into a stoppage time at the end of the game on TalkSport 2. 8 additional minutes.
From the Kouyaté injury, I guess, because 8 minutes seems like a long time. Compared to the England game, it doesn't seem like a long time.
8 minutes for an equaliser for Senegal as they look to salvage their record, at least of staying unbeaten in the opening match of a World Cup. They'd won their previous 2. They look unlikely to do that tonight. Here is Sabali, just inside Dutch territory. Pass infield to Jackson, little ball back from the number 7. Sabali on the halfway line. Every game of the World Cup will be live on the network. Every England and Wales game will have the best build-up. We'll have breakfast shows, reaction tomorrow, of course, with the team. Here's an opportunity for Dieng to hoist in a high deep cross. Sar far post, flicked header clear by Dumfries, hit by the left boot of Jacobs. Now, that was flying so far over the top, it nearly ended up at the back of the lower tier. It would have been a sensational equaliser had he managed to do so, but never likely from the left back.
No, and he also never had any conviction in the shot either. It was almost like the ball was too high for him to hit it. But, Senegal, they've still got time, There's been 8 additional minutes. We're probably into about 1 or 2 right now. There's still time, but I think in the first half, Sarr was getting down the left-hand side in the second half. He hasn't really done that. Ismail Sarr's really barely touched the ball in this second half, and I feel like he looked like a real threat in the first half.
Sarr has not managed to win a throw. Far side touchline, just shy of the halfway line, of the Dutch are taking their time with all of this, and I think they're going to make another change. Did I catch a glimpse, a glimmer of an orange shirt in front of the dugout? Maybe. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But Gakpo, we said, the man most likely to make things happen, and Gakpo looks a really top young player for me, a player who maybe won't be in the Eredivisie for too much longer. That's the Dutch top flight, of course. Already scored 13 this season for PSV. Here comes Senegal, maybe one last stand in this game. Forward by Sabali. In stoppage time, they trail by a goal to nil. 2 minutes of the 8 added have been played. Daley Blind stretching to clear. Doesn't feel like a great sense of jeopardy in the atmosphere again, Leanne, I don't think.
No, there's not really a sense of urgency with Senegal either. I feel like, anything is possible. Put the ball in the box, but they've taken a throw. They'll go backwards, they'll probably play it backwards again. Just put the ball in the box. Anything can happen. You load the box, flick it on to Sarr or to Gay. It could go anywhere, but I feel like they're being too reserved in their attack.
And Koulibaly striding forward from the halfway line. Forward pass towards Jackson. Blind missed his kick. Jackson's managed to nudge it wide to Sabali. Looping high cross. Dieng at the far post, and the header is over the top.
That was a good ball from Sabali. I like that ball. Nice whip, nice pace. I would have expected him to have done a bit better there with a header, but again, better urgency. I mean, he had a lot of time, and again, he's misjudged the ball and it's gone flying over the bar from Dieng.
Well, I thought they might leave Koulibaly upfield, up front, but they're not going to. He's gone back to his defensive position, and here comes probably the final change for the Netherlands. It's the goal scorer Cody Gakpo going off. Martin de Roon is the man who's coming on. Actually was an injured out coming into this game, but he gets some late minutes. But what are the performance of Cody Gakpo, Leanne?
Yeah, really, really good. You mentioned it before, Joe. He's a very good goal scorer. He also gets a lot of assists for PSV as well, and I think they'll be very fortunate if they can keep hold of him. I don't think it's been his best game, but he's got the winning goals, so he's looked threatening when he has got on the ball, and I think they need to play more through him. If Memphis Depay can't start from the beginning, they need to look to find Cody Gakpo a lot more in this game. But the Netherlands will be happy with this result. I mentioned Koulibaly before the game. I've been quite critical of him this season, but I think he's had a very good game. Although it looks like Senegal will go on to lose this game, I think Cisse and Koulibaly tonight have been very, very good.
We've had exactly half of the 8 minutes of stoppage time. Senegal 0, the Netherlands 1, and that was the Netherlands' first, and up to this point, only effort on target in the game that has led them to the goal that is surely going to get them all 3 points to start their group stage campaign.
I guess you could call that clinical, Joe.
Well, you could. One chance, one goal. Although that said, Van Dijk had a header over the top, and De Jong should have done better in the first half. Van Dijk has just punted it high down the right, headed away by Jacobs. It'll drop down towards Koopmeiners, down by the corner flag. Depay is in the middle, but he's not really in the middle. He's about 10 yards away from Koopmeiners. The referee is flagged for something. The assistant rather. It is a free kick to Senegal. 5 minutes of the 8 have been played. No great urgency from Senegal in their all-white kit with the trim of green and yellow and red. It's long and high downfield by Cisse. I mentioned Papi Mendy was booked for a foul on Klaassen just a few moments ago. Header by de Roon, who's just come on for the Netherlands, and then De Jong up to halfway. Another foul on Klaassen, who seems to be on the rough end of it, and another yellow card. This time for Idrissa Gueye from the referee. And Klaassen has gone down holding his head, and that'll be a concern for Louis van Gaal.
Klaassen's certainly been in amongst it since he's come into this game, but that's exactly what you want. I think the fact that Memphis came into this game, that's actually quite nasty, to be honest. It didn't initially look it, but that's caught him with the elbow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was intentional, but the forearm is going to hurt.
Maybe forearm, yeah.
Forearm. But he probably will stay down a bit longer, waste a little bit of time. But Klaassen's definitely been in amongst it. But Memphis, he doesn't look ready yet to play a full 90 minutes.
No.
At all. But taking nothing away, he has that fear factor that when he came into the game, I'm sure Koulibaly and Cisse knew, and they have scored since he's been on the pitch, but barely touched the ball, and he hasn't really stretched them. I don't think either team has really stretched it. There've probably been about 2 offsides in his whole game, potentially.
Well, many in the crowd have filtered away now. It's probably less than half full at this point. as Van Dijk just hammers it on the diagonal straight out of play, somewhat bizarrely. We are nearly through stoppage time, 90 seconds to go on TalkSport 2. Remember, TalkSport will have commentary of the USA against Wales to round off our group stage day. A group stage that's seen a big win for England, and a big win maybe in a slightly different sense of the word for the Dutch here, because they have not played well, or not particularly well, certainly in this second half, but they've got the goal through Gakpo, and now they're just seconds away from seeing out the victory, Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a win's a win. I don't think they played that well in the second half. I think the first half they certainly looked more connected, but they certainly looked quite flat, both teams, in this second half. And I think the quality in the end, Cody Gakpo, I think Mendy should have done better on the goal, but that we always said in the second half one goal would probably win this game, because it didn't look like there was going to be more. And as you can see now, Memphis is holding it in the far corner there, trying to waste a little bit of time.
The ball is with the feet of Cisse. This is the very last chance for Senegal. Forward towards Jacobs, intercepted by Dumfries inside the Senegal half, and now he heads for the corner flag in opposition territory. Was he fouled there by Jacobs? No, it was Dumfries doing the fouling. Free kick to Senegal, but they've only got 25 seconds or so, and they've got to hoist the ball downfield route one. I can't believe Koulibaly hasn't pushed forward.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying though, Joe. It's so strange. I think Koulibaly's been really good today, driving out with the ball, and now he's just booted forward, which you kind of have to go route one. There's about 20 seconds to go.
Forward by De Jong for the Netherlands, who look like they're going to see this out comfortably now. We have had 8 minutes of second half stoppage time. They lead 1-0. All eyes on the referee. Noppert will clear long up towards Koopmeiners. A great flick. Depay, he's only got Koulibaly between himself and the goal. Klaassen making a late run. Depay curls it, saved by the goalkeeper. Klaassen on the follow-up. 2-0 to the Netherlands. 2 late goals, and they have started their World Cup campaign in almost perfect fashion. Davy Klaassen, the former Everton man, following up the fumble from Mendy. He lashed it into the top corner, and it's Dutch joy on their match day one. Senegal well beaten with what might be the last kick of the game. Senegal 0, the Netherlands 2. Game over.
Great follow-up from Klaassen, but again, I'm going to ask questions of Mendy. I still think that the shot from Memphis, it wasn't that strong. You know, it looked like he almost P-rolled it back, and he almost parried it out. It was always very strange. Parried it straight into Klaassen. Great finish in the end, because he still had a lot to do, but Mendy has to do better in that situation, because the shot from Memphis, you know, to be fair, was quite tame. Yes, was it going on target? Potentially, yes, but Mendy has to do better. And Klaassen in this game, he's come into the game, he's done really, really well. He's been part on the other end of, you know, a lot of it fouls from him, on him, but good finish in the end. I did not see this one coming, Joe, at all. The fact that it's going to end potentially 2-0, I'm not going to say ends, there'll probably be another goal. But it's been great, good ending to this game, because I mentioned it so many times how flat it was, no atmosphere, but the Netherlands have won this game, and they haven't played their best football, and that's what good teams do, win games when they're not playing that well.
Well, you want to start almost, well, you don't want to start slowly, but you want to gradually build up and build up and build up as the tournament goes on. And Klaassen has sealed the win, his first major tournament goal on his major tournament debut. And still we play on here as Mendy with a long high diagonal pass over the head of Sabali. It's straight out of play, and that is the full-time whistle. Dutch players in those orange shirts with their arms up into the air. The Netherlands have started with a victory. They still haven't lost their opening game of a World Cup since 1938, but they have beaten Senegal here, and Louis van Gaal, in what will be his last tournament as the Netherlands manager, is off to the perfect start. It wasn't convincing, but then again, it didn't necessarily have to be. The Netherlands didn't play the football that shows they could be one of the favourites for this tournament, but at this stage, in the group stage, so often it's about grinding results out. That is exactly what they did tonight. 2 late goals. Edouard Mendy, the Senegal goalkeeper, at fault for both. Cody Gakpo beat him to the ball for a header into the net for the first, and then when Mendy spilled the shot of Memphis Depay, there was Davy Klaassen to gratefully snap it up. The Dutch players are all gathered in the huddle. The subs have come across as well on the edge of the penalty area. Behind the goal to the right, the Dutch supporters are waving their flags high up into the air. It wasn't a great performance, but it was certainly, in terms of the result, a very convincing start. The final score from the Alkmaar Stadium, live on TalkSport 2, Senegal 0, the Netherlands 2.